First chai latte of the season. Cheers. Oh, it's just so good. In last week's video, I received this comment, and she has such a good point. It's also really helpful if you get up your notes for yourself before you start filming. I've experienced piece burnout on both sides of the coin, both as a student and as a teacher. I have had pupils go through this. So what can we do when we are absolutely sick to death of the music that we're working on? The two most glaring examples of this for me are the Hofmeister and the Walton viola concertos, because these are the concertos that 99.9% of audition panels ask you to play. So when you are preparing them to a pretty high, level of scrutiny, then it can just absolutely kill your love of the piece. And these are actually two pieces that, unpopular opinion, I actually do really like. Now, obviously, the first thing to ask is, what are you learning this piece for? Are you learning it just for fun, just for pleasure, or are you learning it for an exam? Because obviously, if you're learning it for an exam, then you can't exactly just stop playing it, which is my absolute first piece of advice. If you are learning something just for fun, then you can stop at any time. And I know that's the reason I'm laughing is because if somebody said that to me when I'm learning a piece, I'd be like, but it's not perfect yet. How could I? No.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game.
It's just ridiculous because at the end of the day, it's music. We can put it down, we can pick it up whenever we want. So if you're learning something just for fun, then just take a break from it. Put it down. It may be that at this point in time, this piece may be a little bit beyond your technical capabilities, something like that, and actually, you'll put it down, you'll come back to it in a year or so, and you'll be like, oh, I found this difficult. Well, someone's been practicing since then. But if it's for an exam, obviously you might not be able to do that. Now, I cannot talk to how exams are structured in other countries. Hopefully there are some similarities. But if you are taking your exams with the ABRSM, then you will have 3 pieces that you are learning at any given time for the grades from preliminary to grade 8. Then what I would suggest you do is just focus on your other pieces for a little while. Park that one, whether it be the A piece, the B piece, or the C piece, just park it to the side for a little while and focus on your other pieces. Sometimes you can get too into something and you actually need to step back from it to allow your brain to process the information, actually figure out what it's doing, and it just kind of offload a little bit. Something that one of my teachers when I was a teenager used to make me do all the time was to find different recordings of the piece that I was learning to listen to. But she used to suggest that I find no more than 5 different recordings of the piece that I was learning to. You want to have enough different versions that you get different ideas, different interpretive styles, just different bowings sometimes, which can completely change how a section feels. You also don't want to get overwhelmed, My Alexa is haunted. But you also don't want to have more than 5 because it can also just get really, really overwhelming and you can kind of get burnt out on a whole different scale. So up to 5, no more than 5. Listen to different recordings and just get a different person's perspective on things. This next tip can be a little bit difficult to navigate because obviously you don't want to offend anybody, but at the same time can be super, super helpful. And it's simply to get a lesson with a different teacher. Get somebody else's perspective on what you're doing. Sometimes even just a slightly different way of phrasing it can make a huge amount of difference, and they'll just bring a fresh pair of eyes. And now, if you are in the position of you're learning the piece just for fun, and your teacher is insisting that you keep going with it, again, I appreciate this can be a little bit difficult. Remember, you are the one paying them. You are paying them for this lesson. So you are absolutely 100% within your rights to say, I actually think I don't want to learn this piece anymore. Could we move on to something else? And if they get funny about that, I would question whether you want to continue having lessons with them in the future, just because you should be able to learn what you want to play. Music should be fun, especially if you are learning it as a hobby, as something just to enrich your life rather than it being this, big career thing with like loads of pressure. Just enjoy it. And if you're not enjoying it, then change something, because music's wonderful. I am obviously very passionate about it. It is my job. But if you are learning it just for fun, that is one of the most amazing things you can do. It enriches so many different parts of your life, and anything that will keep you doing it and keep you learning it and keep you engaged and motivated and just enjoying the whole experience is gonna be a good thing. And if your teacher can't see that, then you may just have a bit too much of a clash of what you are expecting out of these lessons. It's been a while since we had a rant. Oh, that felt good. And now I appreciate that a lot of people watching my videos are students and you guys are learning instruments, which is absolutely amazing. But if you are a teacher, this bit's for you. Now, one of the reasons I wanted to make this video, not just to reply to my wonderful subscriber's comment, is because I actually made this mistake. I have a pupil and he was learning this piece, and really it was too difficult for him, and I should have identified that so much sooner and found an easier arrangement of the piece that he would have just enjoyed learning a huge amount more. I made us kind of stick with it, and he was, he could have been capable of doing it, but because, he's learning it for fun, so he's not practicing for hours and hours every day. Maybe he should be. We'll chat about that this time, but maybe he could have done. But at the end of the day, we were on it for too long. He was bored of it, I was bored of it, neither of us liked this piece anymore, and it was one that he chose, that he wanted to do. And so I made the mistake of insisting that we stuck with this piece. And he didn't ask me, can we change? But equally, I should have made that call. And I think the reason I didn't was because I didn't want to hurt his feelings. I didn't want it to come across like I didn't think he was capable of playing this piece, because he absolutely was. But for the level of input that he was able to put into his practice and his lessons, it was too big of a step. And I should have made that call. So I think what I'm saying is just to actually go with your convictions, go with your gut, rather than always, worrying about how it's going to come across. Especially if you have a good relationship with your pupil and they know you and they trust you, they will understand. And like I say, just ask them. I wish I'd asked him. I wish I'd said, do you want to keep learning this piece this way? Or would you rather we found a different arrangement of it? Because I'm pretty sure he would have chosen the latter. So if they're learning it just for fun, go down that route. But if you are teaching for an exam, and again, I've had this happen where maybe a pupil super likes one of their pieces initially, so they practice it way more than the other two. We've all been there. And then when it actually comes to it, by the time it gets to the exam, they're so sick to death of this piece. You have two other pieces, sight reading, oral tests, and scales to be thinking about. So just park that piece to the one side. Kids are amazing at remembering a piece. This is something which has been an absolute learning process as a teacher. It's just, if we don't work on a piece for a couple of months and then we come back to it, it'll only take a week maybe to get it back up to where it was. They remember things incredibly well. So don't panic about parking a piece. It will actually be much, much, much better in the long run. I really hope this video has been helpful. Please do give it a like, subscribe to my channel if you would like to see more from me. And if you are suffering from musical burnout, just on a bit of a wider scale, then check out this video. It will be a massive, massive help to you. And I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.